Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss adrenal corticosteroid hormones. Corticosteroids are natural hormones which are produced by the adrenal cortex and have important functions in maintaining good health. Mainly they are classified into three groups: glucocorticoids, which includes cortisol, corticosterone and cortisone, and mineralocorticoids, aldosterone. And in adrenal sex hormones, in male adrenal sex hormones, they are known as androgens, and female adrenal sex hormones are estrogens and progesterone. Chemically, all corticosteroids are derived from cholesterol and have similar chemical structure, which you have already learned in your physiology lectures. We can also classify these corticosteroids according to their duration of action, especially glucocorticoids. They are classified according to their duration of action. We have short-acting corticosteroids, which have 8 to 12 hours duration of action. And these short-acting corticosteroids include cortisol, cortisone, corticosterone, and fludrocortisone. While intermediate acting, which have a half-life of 12 to 36 hours, are prednisone, prednisolone, triamcinolone, and 6-alpha-methylprednisolone. And we also have long-acting corticosteroids, which have half-life of 36 to 72 hours, which includes paramethasone, betamethasone, and dexamethasone. Here we will discuss mechanism of action of corticosteroids. Like all other steroid hormones, adrenocorticoids bind to specific intracellular cytoplasmic receptors in target tissue to form receptor hormone complex. And this receptor hormone complex will go into the nucleus, where it will act as a transcription factor to turn genes on and off depending upon the tissue or depending upon the state of the body. In this diagram, you can see that corticosteroids penetrate cells and bind to a high affinity cytoplasmic receptor protein. A structural change occurs in the steroid receptor complex that will allow its migration into the nucleus. And after migrating into the nucleus, it will bind to glucocorticoid response elements on the chromatin. And what will happen? Then transcription of specific messenger RNA, which will regulate protein synthesis. And this process takes at least 30 to 60 minutes. So effects of corticosteroids are not immediate, and once the appropriate proteins are synthesized, effects persist much longer than the steroid itself. In many tissues, the overall effect is catabolic, that is inhibition of protein synthesis. This may be a consequence of steroid directed synthesis of an inhibitory protein. Corticosteroids are used as potent anti-inflammatory agents. How they produce their anti-inflammatory effects? They will inhibit the conversion of phospholipids into arachidonic acid. So they will inhibit the enzyme phospholipase. What will happen? There will be blockage or inhibition of both pathways of inflammation, which are lipoxygenase pathway and the other one is cyclooxygenase pathway. As far as pharmacokinetic properties of corticosteroids are concerned, more than 90% of cortisol is reversibly bound to proteins, which are of two types. Corticosteroid binding globulin, which has high affinity but low binding capacity, while albumin has low affinity but high binding capacity. And plasma half-life varies from 1.5 hours to 30 hours. And some of corticosteroids undergo extensive first-pass metabolism. Here we will discuss pharmacological actions of different corticosteroids on all systems and all kinds of metabolisms. Glucocorticoids promotes glycogen deposition in liver, and by inducing hepatic glycogen synthase and promoting gluconeogenesis, and they inhibit glucose utilization by peripheral tissue. This, along with increased glucose release from liver, results in hyperglycemia and resistance to insulin and a diabetes-like state. Now, the effect on protein metabolism. They promote gluconeogenesis by peripheral and hepatic actions by mobilizing amino acids from lymphatic tissues, muscles, bones and skins. So they will create negative nitrogen balance. The action on lipid metabolism is primarily permissive in nature and promotes lipolysis due to glucagon, growth hormone, adrenaline and thyroxine. This cyclic AMP induced breakdown of triglycerides enhanced and fat depots in different areas respond differently. And redistribution of body fat occurs. Subcutaneous tissues over extremities loses fat which is deposited over face, neck and shoulder. Moon face, fish mouth, buffalo hump, you have already heard or listened about these terms in physiology. And explanation offered is because peripheral adipocytes are less sensitive to insulin, corticosteroids, enhanced lipolytic action of growth hormone, and adrenaline predominates, and whereas truncal adipocytes respond mainly to enhanced insulin levels under the influence of glucocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids act on the distal tubules and collecting ducts of kidneys to enhance the reabsorption of sodium from the tubular fluid into the plasma. And they also increase the urinary excretion of potassium and hydrogen ions. So in case of hypercorticism, what will happen? There is positive sodium balance due to aldosterone, and there will be expansion of extracellular fluid, and hypokalemia and alkalosis will occur in such condition. We can also classify these corticosteroids according to their duration of action, especially glucocorticoids. They are classified according to their duration of action. We have short acting corticosteroids which have 8 to 12 hours duration of action. And in cardiovascular system, it depends upon regulation of renal sodium excretion. Hypotension and cardiovascular collapse can occur in hypocorticism, and in hypercorticism glucocorticoids can cause a slight rise in blood pressure. Why they will increase blood pressure? By enhancing the vasoconstriction, and secondly by action of adrenergic stimuli on small vessels. In excess of mineralocorticoid, what will happen? There will be hypertension and hypokalemia. In skeletal muscles, optimum level of corticosteroids is needed for normal muscular activity, and weakness occurs in both hypo and hypercorticism, but the causes are different. In hypocorticism, diminished work capacity and weakness are primarily due to hypodynamic circulation, while in hypercorticism, excess mineralocorticoid action will lead to hypokalemia, so it will lead to weakness. And excess glucocorticoid action will lead to muscle wasting and myopathy, and then ultimately weakness. Steroids maintains the normal central nervous system level of blood glucose and maintains its normal circulation of blood in CNS. In low steroid level, there will be apathy, depression, irritability and psychotic sometimes. And high steroid level produce brain excitability. In case of hypercorticism, what will happen on blood elements? There will be increase in hemoglobin and red blood cell count, and decrease in lymphocyte count, and decrease in lymphoid tissue as well. While in case of hypocorticism, increase in lymphoid tissue, lymphoid mass and increased lymphocyte count. A dose of corticosteroid decreases 70% decrease in lymphocytes, 90% decrease in monocytes, and there will be decrease in eosinophils and basophils as well. But on the other hand, there will be increase in polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Why there is increase in neutrophil count? Number one, due to shifting of neutrophils from bone to blood, and number two, due to increased rate of removal from blood circulation, And number 3, due to increased release from vascular walls. Corticosteroids prevents early inflammatory responses like edema, fibrin deposition, capillary dilatation, leukocyte migration and phagocytosis, which are all elements of inflammation. Corticosteroids not only prevent acute inflammatory response but also prevents late inflammatory responses or chronic inflammatory responses like proliferation of the capillaries, fibroblast proliferation, collagen deposition and cicatrization. But remember, its anti-inflammatory effect is not always beneficial. The disadvantage of this is masking of signs and symptoms of inflammation of disease, which may result like peptic ulcer perforation without producing clinical signs and symptoms, which is very dangerous. Steroids suppress the immune mediated response and decrease the immunity, so it has immunosuppressive effect. On growth and cell division, adrenocorticoids normally regulate the normal body growth in children, but in hypercorticism they retard or interrupt the growth of children and has adverse effects on epiphysis. They will inhibit cell division or synthesis of DNA in cells of liver, gastric mucosa, brain, lungs and epidermis. Corticosteroids have a very long list of therapeutic uses. Here we will discuss its endocrinal uses. It can be used in acute adrenal insufficiency due to disorders of adrenal cortex or due to abrupt withdrawal seen as GIT upsets, weakness, lethargy and hypotension. In these cases, glucocorticoids are given as substitute therapy to treat the cause. And we gave 100 milligram cortisol intravenously initially and then 100 milligram 8 hourly later on. We can also classify these corticosteroids according to their duration of action, especially glucocorticoids. They are classified according to their duration of action. We have short acting corticosteroids which have 8 to 12 hours duration of action. And these short-acting corticosteroids include cortisol, cortisone, corticosterone and fludrocortisone. While intermediate acting, which have a half-life of 12 to 36 hours, are prednisone, prednisolone, triamcinolone and 6-alpha-methylprednisolone. They have also non-endocrinal uses, like they are used in some inflammatory conditions, in arthritis, in osteoarthritis, in rheumatic arthritis, in renal diseases, acute and chronic glomerulonephritis, and in collagen diseases like polymyositis, polyarthritis nodosa, granulomatous polyarthritis, and lupus erythematosus. Corticosteroids are also used in various allergic diseases for fever, serum sickness, urticaria, contact dermatitis, drug reactions, bee stings, and for angioneurotic edema. They are used to manage bronchial asthma, and in some ocular diseases they are also used to suppress inflammation of interior and posterior segment of eye, and in various skin diseases like eczema and psoriasis. They are also used in celiac disease, chronic ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, and to reduce cerebral edema, and in various kinds of malignancies, in liver diseases like chronic or alcoholic hepatitis, subacute hepatic necrosis, and in case of non-alcoholic cirrhosis. Corticosteroids not only have a long list of therapeutic uses but a long list of side effects as well. Due to withdrawal like acute adrenal insufficiency, when too rapid withdrawal of corticosteroids after long therapy, what will happen? There will be fever, myalgia, arthralgia, malaise and pseudotumor cerebri or papilledema. And withdrawal after less than 2 weeks or few days will not show adrenal insufficiency. So you have to gradually decrease the dose of corticosteroids. This is also known as tapering. What will happen with continuous use of corticosteroids? It may lead to fluid and electrolyte disturbance, hypertension, hyperglycemia, even glucosuria, and increased susceptibility to infections like tuberculosis and other infections, peptic ulcers, osteoporosis, especially in females, myopathies, behavioral disturbances, glaucoma, and posterior subcapsular cataracts. These are the adverse effects which you may experience with prolonged use of high doses or in Cushing's disease. In psychiatric manifestations, there will be sleep disturbance, mood disturbance, and psychosis, while in skin and soft tissues, Cushingoid appearance, which is abnormal fat distribution, abnormal abdominal stria, acne, hirsutism, and edema. In neurological manifestations, neuropathies and pseudotumor cerebri. In cardiovascular, hypertension. In musculoskeletal system, there will be osteoporosis, aseptic necrosis of bone can occur, and myopathy. And in endocrinal manifestations, diabetes mellitus and adrenal cortex suppression. In immunological, lymphocytopenia, immunosuppression, false negative skin test, and ophthalmic cataract and narrow angle glaucoma can develop. And developmental, there can be growth retardation, especially in growing children. I have added this slide so you can remember side effects of corticosteroids, which are very, very important. Corticosteroids, C for Cushing syndrome, O for osteoporosis, R for retardation of growth, T for thin skin and easily bruised, I for immunosuppression, C for cataracts and glaucoma, and O for edema, suppression of HPA axis, which is hypothalamus pituitary axis, teratogenic, emotional disturbances, rise in blood pressure, obesity, increased hair growth, diabetes mellitus, and satria. Hope you will remember side effects of corticosteroids by remembering corticosteroids, mnemonic corticosteroids and side effects of corticosteroids.